for most of our listeners aren't exercising a lot, are they getting enough with their regular, 17 to 23, 2,500 calories a day? Would you say that they also don't need to worry about all those nutrients that you talked about?
That's a really good question. And I would say it depends on the outcome that we're interested in. So, for example, if someone was eating 2,000 calories a day on a plant-based diet or an omnivorous diet, um, without really focusing on what they're eating, it's really unlikely that they would get enough total protein, for example, to maximize growth. But the thing is, they're probably not trying to maximize muscle growth if they're eating 2,000 calories a day. So the question is, what are we optimizing for? Is it for health or is it for performance? And I would say if you're trying to optimize for health, this always blows my mind. There were two meta-analyses. These were published in 2022. The author's last names are Mama, which is the coolest last name ever, and something like Shailendra, which I'm going to butcher that last name, and I'm sorry. And they found that there was a J-shaped curve, and I'll explain what I mean, when it comes to how much weightlifting people do and their risk of getting cardiovascular diseases, getting any, total cancers, and also risk of premature death from any cause. So what I mean by this is that there's a sweet spot of somewhere between, say, 30 to 60 minutes a week total of resistance training that seems to maximize risk reduction of major killers and premature death. And so that just lifting that amount of weight or that for that frequency, that's like nothing. That's like, what is that? Like 7 or 8 minutes. What is that? So I guess it'd be like, yeah, 7 to 15 minutes a day, 4 days a week or something like that of lifting weights. It's like absolutely nothing. And doing that is wonderful for reducing these risks, but it also is not going to be enough to maximize the response, our growth and strength gains in response to training. So if we're not trying to maximize these gains because we're more interested in, let's say, health, then we don't even need all that extra protein. So it becomes kind of irrelevant on that end too. But yeah, I think that the less we eat overall, the more we need to be mindful of the quality of those ingredients. Like if you wanted to get enough vitamin C, for example, which like people eating plant-based diets just consistently do. It's amazing. Their vitamin C intakes are extraordinary. Um, yeah, I mean, if I were to eat very few calories, I'd have to be more mindful to make sure that those foods that I'm eating have enough vitamin C. But if I'm eating tons and tons of calories, I can get that vitamin C from whatever I'm eating. And then I probably have room for junk calories, which would allow for me to still get the nutrients I need. That's not to say that I'd be healthy for doing it, but I'd still get the nutrients that I require because, yeah, I mean, just sheer volume. I don't know if that answered your question. I know it's sort of a multifaceted issue if we're aiming at performance or health.
No, that's good for people to know that. And yes, you did answer my question, is that if you aren't, if you're not in consuming a lot of calories, you have to be, it just would be the same for an omnivorous diet. You have to be mindful of what you eat so that every calorie counts. And if you have a large amount of calories, then you'll more tend to get the nutrients you need. So,
I mean, whey protein is meant for people who are eating omnivorous and maybe vegetarian, but not vegan diets. There's a reason why whey protein was built not for people eating a vegan diet, right? I mean, even they are seeking out additional protein to build muscle. And there are two studies that I've seen where omnivorous diet plus whey protein to meet this 1.6 or 1.8 number. Yeah, omnivorous diet plus whey protein versus plant-based diet. I think it was vegan diets plus soy protein. And that when they hit that 1.6 or 1.8 number, they were showing equal gains. But yeah, I mean, it's not like the omnivorous dieters just naturally, magically hit it. It was, it required supplementation. So you can do it through whole food, but it takes a lot more focus. And on this diet, it'd be eating, a whole lot more legumes. I love bean pastas and, tempeh and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, most people are going to take a supplement, no matter what kind of diet they're eating.